Alright.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Different Perspective with Squirrel John
Squirrel John.
and other Squirrel Beanie, because
Yes, yeah.
sometimes it's just squirrel.
Yeah.
It's squirrel season.
Yes, yes. And sometimes you might see us running around how the squirrels chase each other.
That would be a no.
No, that'd be a no.
That would be a no.
Okay.
So anyway, welcome back.
Yeah, so, our show, A Different Perspective,
Right.
raising consciousness while chasing squirrels. Yes, it's us.
So, and the big squirrel Mo is laying on the floor chewing on his...
Little teddy bear or mouse? Is it a mouse?
It's supposed to be a bear, but
It looks more
I
like...
think... But what's funny is, so because all these other stuffed animals, they have squeakies in them,
Uh-huh.
he's looking for the squeaky on this one, but it's a non-squeaker.
But he likes it
And it's
anyway.
not really an animal toy either.
No.
So,
It
no,
looks like-
I
know
want
I
it.
wanted it. I was going to steal it from him.
Good luck.
We'll show it later. It's a cute little doll.
And he's, yeah,
And
anyway.
and it's all gooey.
Yeah, anyway. Enough about that.
Yes. See, we just chased some squirrels right now. But,
Nice.
hey, this is life, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, here's the thing, and it's just like so much is happening, and I always laugh with people. It's like my head, it's just running 100 miles a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts and everything, and
I know, it's so exhausting.
I know, it's like ping, 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 but overall, and we talked a little bit beforehand, overall it's like, what's the predominant thought level that we have? And when I say thought level, is it positive, is it negative?
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, for the longest time, it was so negative. And, because we're talking limiting beliefs, haha.
Really?
I was so full, it's like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve, I'm not lovable, all of that junk.
And I think that goes through almost everybody's minds.
Right.
Except those who've trained themselves out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or say, that's bullshit.
Yes.
Right. Now, are we at that stage now
Absolutely.
that we're saying, no, that's bullshit.
Right.
I can do it. I think it happens most times when we're young. Our family members,
Because
the
we
people in our
adopt
community.
what we're taught.
Exactly, or what we're not necessarily even taught.
No, what we watch and what we monkey see, monkey do. That's the thing that comes to mind. We adopt and emulate what we see by
Or
those
hear,
that, or
right,
hear
yeah.
that we with the people we hang around most, and we look up to, and then we look up to our parents, our grandparents, our peers, and
Right.
all of that.
So we are imprinted
Right.
by what they tell us because we think they're the authority figure, that they have the knowledge, that they are the smart ones.
Right,
at that
because
point
they've
in
been
our life.
around longer.
Yeah.
They must know.
So, our limiting beliefs, not only about ourselves, but about everything,
Right.
all comes down to our early perceptions and stuff.
And what's ingrained in us.
And
Yeah, and it's really tough because most of our lives, and I'm guilty as charged, for most of my life, I was on autopilot. I just didn't realize, all the tape that was constantly playing and replaying in my head, and it's like those self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not gonna work, and then, stuff happened because I really believed it's not gonna work, so I self-sabotage, and the universe said, oh, it's not gonna work, you're right, here you go, here's proof. No, no, those are not your sticks to play with.
I have a bunch of flutes down for another show.
Most ooh, sticks. But seriously, it's that constant, and it's like, it came true, now our belief, however wrong it was, just got confirmed.
Right.
Because now we have proof, because we want proof.
And the funny thing is that we could have 100 positive things said to us, but it only takes the one negative one to confirm that negative self-image or that background chatter that's not supporting us. And we take that. And we run with that one...
What's wrong with us? Sheesh.
Exactly. What is wrong with us? And it's because... the queen of shift here.
But that's another thing we say when something is going on. It's like, why is it happening to me? What did I do wrong? And we totally internalize it, and a lot of times it's really not really us.
Right.
It's just how we react to something that's happening.
Right. And sometimes we quote victim of circumstance, but look at that word, victim.
Oh,
right.
And that's a whole nother show.
Well, it is, and but it all relates to how we perceive.
Right, absolutely.
Things. If you're in a victim mentality.
Poor me.
Yeah, poor me. Yeah, right. If you're in it, experience it for a moment, and then just say that no. And start doing positive affirmations or thought processes that bring you out, or actions.
Right.
That make that shift.
Get your shift together.
Get your shift together, yeah.
No, but I mean it's true, and I was stuck in that victim mentality for most of my life, and it's really easy until my good friend Barbara, Barbara Harrington, she looked at me. She says, "So what are you getting out of it, huh?" I'm getting nothing out of it. This sucks. She goes, "Oh no, you're a victim, and you have the pain." And you're holding on to that because there's some benefit in there for you, and you're holding on to it for a reason.
Right.
And yeah, that was tough. That was tough to admit that and start really writing down the benefits. It's like I got more attention. I was able to use it as an excuse. And once I started opening that door and really be honest with myself, because here's the thing: we can lie to everybody. We cannot lie to ourselves, because we know.
Right.
We know, Mo, leave it. Leave it. Those are not your sticks. But once I started that, I was like, wow. And when I was done with my list, I sat and I cried like I have not cried in my life. It was really like, wow.
I think sometimes we have to fill our cup with that victim energy until it overflows. Right? To the point where we say, I can't live this way any longer. And it's the rock bottom thing. Some people have to hit the rock bottom.
Right.
Some don't.
Some don't.
Some recognize it early.
And here's the thing, but as long as we're getting something out of it.
Right. If you're getting attention, whether it be negative attention, whatever, sometimes that's why people, it's still attention.
It's still attention, and it's like.
So you're being recognized for something.
Right.
Even though it might be something negative.
It doesn't matter, but there's still that recognition, yes.
Exactly.
And we all have this thing, it's like we want to belong. Because, and essentially humans, we're pack animals. We're no different from dogs.
Right.
Or horses.
Well, there's some differences.
But
when we greet each other, we don't...
Yes, there's that. But as far as the
right.
sense of belonging, that we need that, that hierarchy and that whole everything.
Yeah.
We're really no different.
Right. There's the alphas and.
Right, and it's like when something is going on with us, and if it's internally, externally, whatever, we tend to isolate ourselves because we go in this like, oh, I can't do this. Why me? And poor me and da 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 da. But then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I help you? Then that starts. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, if I'm hurting, I get attention.
Right.
If I have this, then I get attention. And it's like, but essentially what you do is you really give all your power away. That's one thing. And actually one of my talks that I do when I talk on, depending on the group I talk to, but I have a thing on victimhood.
Right.
Which is the upside of victimhood, and I start with that, and I usually, when I start with that, eyes in the audience get this big. They're like, what are you talking about? There's no upside, and then I only list like 5.
Right.
There's a bazillion.
So list the 5.
At the top of my head, the number one really is the attention that you get. You don't have to deal with what's really going on, because you can just deflect. Those are really the biggest ones.
Deflection. Mm-hmm.
Right. And just like, you can focus on something other than your own pain. And those are all things, but again, that's deflection and stuff, so, and then I talk about the downside of victimhood. And on the bottom, it comes in big red letters, you give away all of your power.
Right.
And their eyes get even bigger.
And I notice that with so many people when they're talking, and like if they're upset with somebody, I see the victim coming out and how they grab it and pointing the fingers, and I look and I go, are you being accountable? And they're
What?
like,
Accountable and take responsibility for my actions? What's wrong with you? That's not the way of the
not
people.
just the actions, but the thoughts.
Everything.
Everything.
Your thoughts, your feelings,
so
your
are you
everything.
are you being accountable? And they're like, they looked at me like I had 3 heads. What do you mean?
Well, of
And I
those
said,
3 heads.
now, don't you have any part in this? Don't you have the words say no? Or can you explain that another way? Because this is how I'm taking it, right? Because victims will take things going against them.
Absolutely.
You know? Maybe that thought process wasn't against you. Maybe that was something very enlightening, but you perceived it as an attack. I said, did you ask a question? You know, why did you use that tone of voice? You know, and not a challenge. Why did you use that tone of voice? It's, why did you use that tone of voice? And they said, that's my teaching voice. You know what I mean? Something
Right.
Oh, well, in my house, that was, putting me down. So they're, it triggers.
Communicate with each other?
Exactly. And it's about finding that levels of communication
Right.
with everybody.
But again, autopilot. We are so reacting on autopilot. It's like something can happen. Part of one of my speeches is what's in your cup. And it's like whatever cup you have and you fill it, whatever, when it overflows, and whatever, or you bump it, whatever's in the cup will spill out. So if we're filled with negativity and anger towards ourselves, towards the world and life and everything, something happens, and it may not even be anything earth-shattering or
Right.
really offensive or nothing. It's just it was that last drop. When you have a glass of water and it's filled to the very brim, right before it spills over. Say it's a glass of just water, and then you have a drop of red wine, and then it all spills over. It has nothing to do with a drop of red wine. It has everything to do with what's already in that cup.
Right.
That spills out, and we're no different.
Well, what the old, the sages would say, well, if your cup is full, how can you learn? Right? If you come in here and you know it all, and something, say, profound
Get
enters
another
your
cup.
life. Right? Get another cup. You could do that, That means that you're stopping the limitation.
Right.
You found a solution instead of, pouring that cup into something else or whatever, into a bigger thing and putting the cup back out. Get another cup. That is a type of solution. At that beforehand, the person wouldn't think of getting another cup.
Right.
I know better, or this is just the way it is, and it's like, no, it's not.
That saying right there is just.
It's utilizing resources that are around you, and getting past the fear of judgment. Self-judgment first.
Well, here's the thing on judgment, and I said it on my other show, Happiness Matters, that you will always
Nice
be
plug.
judged. I know, right? No, but here's the thing, we're always judged. Somebody will constantly judge us on
always.
something. Too big, too small, too fat, too thin, too this, too that. We're being judged anyway. Embrace it, but don't take it personal. It's like, when somebody judges you, they're coming from their own limitations.
Yeah.
They're coming from their own shortcomings, and it's like, so what?
And many years ago, I was judged, for, trying to show off to somebody, right? And actually, it was an old employee of mine. I'd switched from a management position in a company to a regular worker position because I was a single dad and I needed to have the flexibility
Right.
of a 9,
Right.
a 7 to 3 job, as opposed to working 12, 15, 20 hours, that type of thing. So I dropped out of management. But my old employees would come to me with questions and problems. And I had still the contacts and the resources to assist them. So I did. And I got, blasted by a person who I was working with, but,
They were threatened by you.
And they were like, what do you do that? You're just trying to show off. You think you're this. And I was like blindsided. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't understand where you're coming from. Well, you're not a manager anymore. And I said, it doesn't matter if I'm.
They were threatened by you.
Probably were. I just did what I thought was right.
Well, it's my argument being the little shit in me. It's like, well, if you would answer their questions, if you would be approachable, they wouldn't have to come to me.
Well, they weren't. They weren't in that chain.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? They had nothing. I was in a completely different department, but they respected me. The people who worked under me respected me because they knew I would do the right thing and that I could give them an answer or steer them in a direction that would solve some of the issues that were going on. And it doesn't matter what my position is. If I have the resources,
if you can help, you help.
I help. I don't have to know the person either.
Right.
And it's just who I am. But people would judge.
Switched twice.
Yeah. Candy corn one.
I know he loves it.
Yeah. But the thing is that I've lost my train of thought with the damn.
No, when you can help somebody, you help, and it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, or
and
whatever.
if they like me or not.
Oh, exactly.
I had that same type of thing. Someone who needed help, who didn't like me, who actually cast aspersions on me. Put lies out, put all this disseminated false information.
But see,
the whole business,
and that comes from their own limiting beliefs and their own shortcomings.
And they needed help. They put it out on social media that they needed someone to take them to the doctor because they couldn't drive because the condition that they had was flaring up.
And you took them.
And I put my, and they were like, they asked why? Why did you offer? Why? And I said, because you need help. Well, I did some things against you that, I said, but that was in the past.
And here's the thing, A, it was in the past, and B, it didn't look bad on you, it looked bad on them. They made an ass of them.
And then, it hurt, but it didn't matter to me because, someone was in need, I had the time, I'm going to help. And why can't everybody else do that?
Do you mean get over their own ego and their own everything? What? Would be nice, guys. You can do it.
I'm not egoless or anything like that, but
You're human.
I care about people. I care about conditions. I care about different things.
No, and I love it. And I think if more people would do that, there would be a lot less conflict around, and it'd just be a gooder place. And yes, gooder is a word. My editor uses the word.
But we kind of diverted on the topic a little bit. But this is about getting out of our own ways with our limiting beliefs about ourselves, and then about the things around us. And sometimes what's been coming up in a lot of readings is to tell people to, instead of reacting or acting right away on things, is to be the observer.
He really likes your flutes.
I know. Because the last time I played them, I probably had cookies. No, they probably smell like cookies. No, he said no. That was funny. Oh, yeah, get the thing. Show it to the camera. That's the little thing.
It's so gross.
I know, that's why I wouldn't pick it up.
Oh my God. It's dripping almost. Ugh.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
So. But here's the thing too with limiting beliefs. It's like, when things come up, I tell people too, it's like, become a forensic scientist. Ask questions. Yeah. Ask questions. Why am I feeling this way? Where's this coming from?
Is this mine?
Is this mine? Yeah. Is this something that I adopted from my parents, my grandparents, from somebody, from the media?
Has been passed down from generation to generation.
Ask those questions, and it's okay to get the answers, because you will get to the bottom of it.
Right, and sometimes if you start taking up the practice of meditation, right, and it doesn't have to be the Zen quiet, you can do guided meditations, but taking quiet time and doing breathing techniques to calm yourself down, and put the question out there, with something that came up in your life, or you reacted to something and you find yourself reacting to a certain stimulus, a trigger point.
It's like, where's it coming from?
Where's it coming from? And allow your mind to drift. And you might see images in your head. You might see your mom, then you might see your grandmother, then you might, or Uncle Joe.
Or you might just get see, for me, it's I don't see, I feel.
Well,
I get the feelings.
Right.
You know?
But it's the thing is that allow your senses,
Right.
you know, whether it be thoughts, feelings, and so forth, but allow them to unleash them, let them travel where they go. And you'll find that sometimes they can go back hundreds of years.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Where the first imprint started into behavior patterns for that part of the family.
Right.
Which, you know, no one understands why they react that way, you know, 100 years later, 200 years later.
Because it's
But it
part
was
of your
started-
soul contract?
Well, yes and no. It's you know, the contract of that genetic line, right? But that can be changed, though. It can be rewritten. That's a lot of people don't understand in life, is that you can rewrite your contracts.
It's your story.
Right. And I'm not talking necessarily about karma,
No.
you know, but certain contracts that you make while you're in the flesh can be rewritten. Especially if they're not serving you any longer, your highest good, or the people around you.
See, I kind of think we can rewrite our karma, because we get the karma because there's lessons we haven't learned.
Well, lessons we haven't learned, you know, I'm going to say, I don't necessarily say we can rewrite them, but we
but we can change it.
We can change it. Well, because the thing is, karma is to bring awareness.
I love karma.
Now, the thing is that if you start becoming aware of those different things, you already taken care of the karma.
Right.
It doesn't mean you always have to go into the act of
He's
it.
so smart.
If I've shaved my head.
No, but I mean, it's just, and here's the thing too, like, squirrel, that awareness, it's like once I start to become more and more aware, I'm more and more in awe. And so many things are happening so much faster. It's like, whoa, it's so cool.
Now, didn't a lot of this awareness start coming when you started taking the time to listen to yourself?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what the whole point was about the meditation and all these different things is, you know, we don't know ourselves half the time. We are always thinking of how other people perceive us.
Well, we're programmed to fit in.
Right. And it's about honoring your own individuality. Right. Not making excuses to do things. Say, well, that's just the way I am. And it's like, no, that means you're putting up defenses to justify sometimes behavior patterns.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
And it's time to break a lot of those. If we want this world to change, if we
have
want
to change.
You know, we have to change. We do. And we have to sometimes learn the word no.
What?
It's a boundary word. You know,
Who thunk it?
Who thunk it? Yeah. You know, you don't really want to do something. But ask yourself, why do I not want to do this? Is it because of fear, or is it because you just don't like it? And you're miserable when you do it.
And either one is okay, like be honest about it, and then you can always redirect.
Yeah, you don't always have to please people.
What?
You don't always have to please people.
What?
I'm a people pleaser, and that's a challenge, and that's a thing that I have to work on. Is
But you can't make everybody happy because
you can't.
It's with like judging. There's always somebody's whatever. My thing is, do you be you, and you can't go wrong.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying it's like, you know,
yes.
be egotistical and selfish and all of that junk. That's not what I'm talking about when I say be you. But be honest with you and be your true you. And again, for me, I can always come from my own point, you know. I mean, for the longest time, I was shooting all over myself. I should do this, and you
I
know,
thought you said shitting all over yourself.
No, shoulding.
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 SHOULD. Okay.
There you go.
I was like, I'm just glad I wasn't there at the time. No.
No, but I thought I had to fit into one of those cookie cutters in those boxes,
Right.
you know, to fit in and to be accepted and everything.
Right.
Until last year, well, not going to say last year, April 1st of 2018, when I said, you know what, screw it, done. I'm going to start doing me on purpose, with purpose, you know, and I stepped into my gift. And what's been happening since then blows my mind. You know, I mean, the way I have grown as a person and the way I have stepped into me and the people I'm attracting now are the people that I always wanted to attract, that I looked up to and was like, man, it would be cool to be friends with, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so, or...
You're welcome.
No, but for real, I'm me. I don't have to pretend anymore. You know, I don't have to remember, you know, who I was in this with these people and those people and da 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 da. I just show up as me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. Try it, guys. Be you. Be
See,
authentically you.
And the hard part is, a lot of people don't know who they are because they've
Right.
been acting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, trained to act.
Right, and I'm still
From an
figuring it
early
out.
age. Same,
It's
same
like,
here.
I mean, I'm figuring it out every day. It's like, ooh,
You know,
hello.
a lot of people, because I do a lot of spiritual work, think that,
You do spiritual work? What?
yeah, all right, that I, you know, I'm 10 miles above them and I'm like this holy man. I was like, I'm a human being. I make
Notice
mistakes.
he's not floating above the seat. He's sitting in the seat.
Gravity
Gravity works for him too.
Actually, I have bungee cords holding me down.
Duct tape,
But-
super glue, bungee cords.
Yes, that's it, all of them, and they don't always work either. Because one time the cushion lifted right up with me.
Now people are going back to the other
Yes,
shows. It's like, what did happen? No, we cut that out.
Yeah, no. But, you know, a lot of people think that I have to be a certain way. And when I'm, you know, prove to them that I'm human by screwing up, they all of a sudden they turn their head and they may walk away. And it's like, so I'm not allowed to be human. I have to be this figure, you know, that's elevated somewhere, and it's like, it isn't there.
But again,
That's your perception.
That's their limiting beliefs.
That's their limiting beliefs.
Right.
And you know, as we walk in this
Do you have limiting beliefs?
body that we have, we are subject to all the emotions and things that can affect us
Right.
around through our environment, you know, through our political systems, through everything. We are still affected by it. And if someone says they're not, I'm sorry.
Liar,
they're-
liar, pants on fire.
Yeah. I mean, I can sometimes feel like I'm so, I guess, filled with love and emanating, and, you know, and people say, oh my God, you know, and that's the moment I'm in at that point. And that's my moment.
Mm-hmm.
But that moment can change, you know, it's a sine wave.
You
It
mean
can-
the moment can change at any moment?
It-
I'm sorry, I couldn't
yes,
resist.
moment to moment. Things are different. But that's the beauty of life.
Right.
And that's the challenge of life.
And the only thing we have control over is this very moment.
Right. What am I going to do now?
It's like the feelings we have right now, the emotions we're feeling, you know, the thoughts we have, the words we speak, we're in control 100% of the time.
Yeah, I had, you know, a conversation with someone, you know, a week or so ago, and said,
Can you come up?
I don't know what the future's going to bring.
Right.
I can only live right now.
Camera's the other way.
So, see, Mo is here. Mo is wanting some loving from
I know.
A
You
mama.
need some mama loving. Ugh.
Mama loving, and yeah.
It'd be nice if we could do it without the slobber.
Yeah, and Mo wanted to be on camera, and
Actually, on my other, on Happiness Matters, the show, I did an interview with him.
oh, you did.
I interviewed him,
Right.
yes.
One of our guests had suggested that.
Yes.
She's
And,
an animal communicator.
And my friend Linda Clark, she came, and so yeah, we did a conversation with Mo, the service though.
Yes.
It was great,
Yeah.
but
See,
Mo, you
got
are a
this.
distraction.
Oh, you're such a good guy. You
He
are.
is.
He's a big boy. He's a big
He's so
boy.
funny though when I don't take him with me, he becomes Mopey Mo.
No, really.
Yeah, he's not happy when Mama is not taking him. Yeah, no. I had an event in Denver. It was a 3-day seminar, and yeah, I was gone for 3 days.
And poor Mo.
But when I walked in the door, he was super happy. My husband looked at me and he goes, "Don't ever do that again."
Yeah.
So, but it's all good. It's all good. No, but I mean, seriously, it's that self-talk, that tape that we have playing over and over and over. It's that loop, that hamster wheel, and we're wondering why things are not improving. Well, if our thoughts and our feelings and what we say and do are not improving, our life is not improving.
Right.
Because what we think about, we bring about. It's that simple.
Yeah. I mean, it's been written by everybody.
Right.
Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle,
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill, Greg Braden,
All of them.
All of them, the modern big teachers that are out there. And I mean, these words have been out there for thousands of years.
It's nothing new.
No, it's not. It's just
and here's what I found too, and some people may agree, some people may not. I don't really care. It's like all the religion, leave it. All the religions, all the belief systems that are out there, the core of it is all the same.
Oh, it is.
And they have the same message in all of them. It's just different words.
Yeah.
It's
we mentioned it in one of the other shows.
Right. It's like, this in English, this is a chair. In German, this is a Stuhl. Different words, same things.
Right.
But they're not your toys. But I mean, the gist of it is the same. The energies at work are the same.
Yes.
The principles of it are all the same. It's just different words.
Yes.
But the meaning is the same.
And it's funny, you said, well, this is modern times. And I said, back then, as it was going on, was modern times. We human beings, we haven't changed drastically.
No.
They when they do the archaeology, they're finding stuff that we still do.
Right.
Today.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can't even understand how certain things were made back then.
Right.
That have been carbon dated, 10,000 years ago.
A gazillion years.
And they're saying they don't understand how, how they could have that kind of technology.
Right. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Mo is bringing in all of his toys one after
Yes, one after another, trying to get our attention. Yeah, now he's got a squeaker.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, it really hasn't changed, and the gist of it, the universal laws are still at work, and they're the same for everything and everybody.
That's right.
I'm sorry, it's just funny. He gets so happy when he makes his toys squeak.
Yes.
Is that what you have to say?
Yeah.
Is that your part of the conversation that you have to come in? I'm sorry, he's just so darn cute. I'm not sorry. I'm not really sorry.
No.
He's just so
I'm
cute.
not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Now that's a good thing that came up. Is how often do we say I'm sorry when not necessarily don't mean it, but it's not necessary.
Right. Like,
if you have no control over anything, why do we say I'm sorry? I catch myself sometimes doing it.
I do too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's part of the conditioning.
It is part of the conditioning. It's
totally part of the conditioning.
It's like, wait a minute, I had nothing to do with this whole thing.
Right. And sometimes I'm sorry, I'm like, what the frick am I sorry for?
Right. So it's about paying attention to, how we are actually interacting.
Yes.
Right. So.
Hey, when you come from a place of love and gratitude, can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. And that goes for yourself too, not just for others.
Well, you got to start. Charity begins at home, so to speak. You got to take care of you first. Bottom line.
But that means I'm selfish.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there because some people think that, and it's not. It's not selfish. If it's in a healthy way,
right? It's
not selfish.
Well, the thing is like when I talk to the soccer mom. Well, I got to take my kid here and here and there and there. I said, will their life end if you don't take them to soccer? Right, and you did something as a family, as opposed to running here and bringing little Joey and Betty over here, running all over the place, chicken without heads. Did you ever ask your kids, do you really want to do this? Some will say, yeah, I do, I love this. But a lot of them will say, I'm doing it because of you.
Right.
I'm doing it because you want me here.
Mm-hmm. That is totally true.
So,
totally true.
Like my son, when I got him in, he wanted to play field hockey. They had it up at Bear Creek Park here in Colorado Springs one time when he was little. And he played for like 3 or 4 days. And then he was, not working as hard. And I go, what's the matter? He goes, I thought I'd like it. He goes, it was fun the first day or so. He goes, but I just don't really want to do this. I said, okay.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah. So I pulled him out. And we go, well, look at all this. You bought some equipment. And I said, I'll give it to someone who needs it. I'm not going to force a behavior or something because, like I'm more of an outgoing person. I can't sit still. I'd rather go out and do things. And my boy, he's more of an introvert. He likes doing indoor things. I'm not forcing him to go out and, go hiking. I said, you want to go for a hike? Sometimes he'll say yes, and we'll go for a hike. But more times than not, he goes, I'll take a pass, Dad.
You can always come and get Mo. He
Yeah.
would love to go with you.
Yeah, he probably would.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, we get forced into things, or we
Right.
force thinking that we're a bad parent if we don't put them into something. And it's not, it's about bringing these families back together, right? And changing those behavior patterns that been indoctrinated into us through our
Right.
families and our neighborhood and stuff like that. And that's part of the shift that we need to do, and it's about more family time, more communication. Turn the damn TV off, get the Scrabble game out, Boggle, one of those type of things.
Except Germans. Germans can't play Scrabble.
No.
Because we have words like Fußboden-Schleifmaschinenverleih or
Oh.
Badewannenstöpsel. There's
Yeah,
not enough letters to
Yeah.
do that.
right.
Just
By the time they put that out on the board, everybody fell asleep.
I know, right? That's not true. Germans to play Scrabble.
Yes,
But
but they do it in English.
I do. No, but it's like it's more important to spend quality time instead of it's like being able to say it's like, oh yeah, my kid is doing this, and this, and I'm running ragged and I'm tired all the time.
Right, and you become a bitch because you're exhausted
Watch
and stuff like
yourself.
that.
But
Right.
okay, so fun fact, you know what bitch really stands for?
Yeah, it's a female dog.
No, well that too, but babe in total control of herself. Because imagine if we didn't have that control.
This is a justification, right? And no.
Yep. Yeah, it was so funny because so when my boys were younger, and one day they came home and they were not happy with me for whatever reason, and I think one of them actually called me bitch.
Whoa.
I know. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Technically, I don't have a problem you calling me that. It's just who I am, okay? But in this context, not cool.
Right.
We don't call each other names when we're angry or whatever. We just don't call each other names. And I said, and here's the thing. I'm okay being a bitch because, and that's what I said, because imagine if I didn't have that control. And they look at me like, huh? And I said, yeah, because bitch is a babe in total control of herself.
I've got no words.
Right? But I told him, I said, so
Yeah.
in fun, you can call me that. At home when there's nobody else around. In public, people will have a problem with that.
Yeah.
We look at it this way, it's like, yeah, because imagine if I didn't have that control.
We should do a show on fighting words,
No,
right?
no. That would be a very hard no.
Right.
The
No.
power of no. No.
See, that's the boundary that we're talking about. That's the boundary we're talking about. And in the fighting words I'm talking about are the words that are used that, like the word bitch, depending on the context of it.
Right.
That's a fighting word. Bitch, you call me a bitch, you know what I mean? What are the words that trigger?
Ooh.
That's the fighting words I'm talking about. The words that trigger.
Got a dictionary, start at A, end at Z. Everything in between.
Depending on the tone of voice, depending on the context and everything else.
Any word at any time can be a trigger.
It can be. And that's about when you start learning what your triggers are, when a certain word or a certain tone comes out, and instead of reacting right away, take a deep breath and say, why did that trigger me? You don't have to say it out loud, obviously, but why did that trigger me? Right? Take a breath and, you can say to the person, say, now, what did you mean when you said that? What did you mean by that? Not what did you mean by that? Our tones of voice can create the challenge, which creates the fight, which creates the different thing. If you truly don't understand why that, tone of voice triggered you, it's time to do more introspection, to look within and say, let's figure this out. Because this is how the shift begins when we start looking at ourselves and our triggers and
That's how we get our shift together?
That's how we get our shift together, right? That's our goal, don't we want to be happy? Don't we want to, feel the love,
Yeah.
and share the love that's within each one of us? But how can we do that if we have so many of those triggers in there?
Mo was like, have a Mo.
Have a Mo. Yeah, if everybody had a Mo.
I know, right? No, but it's true. I mean, it's and it always has to do with like the place that you come from. It's how you perceive. I mean, one of my, and I don't know who said it, I can't remember, but I use it all the time. The reflection without is a reflection from within.
Yeah. And one of the things that just popped into my head is,
did it hurt? Anyway.
Okay.
So what
I've got a dent.
So what popped into your head?
Well, now it's probably gone. No.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is gone now.
Sorry.
It must have blew a hole right out the other side, And it was so profound. Oh my God. I was about to levitate during that.
Oh man, I'm sorry guys to rob you of that experience.
Yes, you all have been robbed of that experience.
Well, maybe on another show.
Well, it'll pop up again.
But I mean, we were talking about the reflection without is reflection from within. So whatever's going on inside you, we see amplified on the outside.
Okay, now it just thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. It's what your normal is might not be the normal of everybody else around you.
Absolutely.
Right. Your normal is what you've been indoctrinated to through your family tree.
Right. And your normal might be the extraordinary for somebody else.
Right. Like there are families that don't hug. They don't show affection in their families, and they're very cold people. They're very meticulous in their work. They're they're just locked in.
That's like really like my heart just went. That just hurts to think that, and I know there's families like that.
Oh, I've seen the families.
It just hurts me to the core, because we as humans we need that touch, we need that human touch.
And that's what I was going to bring up. Like my family, we hugged quite a bit.
I'm a super hugger.
When we said goodnight, we always gave a kiss on the cheek or whatever.
Right.
Good night, Mom. Good night.
That
type of thing.
Mary,
yep, it was. And my last name isn't Robinson; it's Walton. And those who are too young, you have to go look up the Waltons, the show.
I miss that show.
It was a good show.
It was a good
It
family
definitely was
show.
a good show.
Yeah.
It's probably on Nick or something like that.
It's somewhere.
Somewhere out there. But the thing is that there are families that don't show emotion. That everything is clinical.
Right.
It's cold. It's precise.
How
You have
sad.
expectations. But that's their normal. They don't know different. So then they get in a relationship with somebody who is warm and loving, right? They don't know how to
Right. They don't
act.
know what
So
to do.
when they have kids, Mom is the warm one. The father's ice cold.
Right.
And it's about learning how to thaw things. That it's okay to have emotion. It's okay to feel. Some of the families are like the Vulcans. Spock. Logical. We not express any emotion, and I've met families that way. Like my ex-wife, at the time when going out, she couldn't hug. I mean, if she did hug, there was no emotion to it. It was cold. It was just an arm around you, and when you get a hug with somebody who cares, there's a warmth. There's a sharing of this beautiful energy.
It's totally different.
And then you hug somebody who doesn't give a crap. And it's just these arms wrapped around, and there's nothing
It's like hugging a rock.
I call it hugging the refrigerator.
Oh, that.
Right.
Refrigerator
or the freezer. Or a cold rock. Right. But how many people have experienced that?
Right.
Right. I basically, it was part of my mission with my ex-wife was to hug and to transmit unconditional love. It was this like golden light, and later on she, it wasn't with me. But later with her son and her, later on her other husband, there was more, I could see the interaction, that there was now love being transmitted out. And
That's
it was
nice.
like,
That's awesome.
I was like, it would have been nice during my time, but maybe that was my reason for being in her life at that time. Because everything happens for a reason. And if we look towards things as lessons more than hurts, it doesn't mean you don't get hurt, but you look at it and you say, okay, Exactly. Everything that we've gone through. I should have made this other choice. Why? You made a choice. Look at what positive can come from that choice, not the negative. We concentrate on the negative.
But that's part of our conditioning.
It is.
And we're bombarded with negativity, and it's so hard. And I always tell people, it's like, there's always something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's a lesson. And hey, Mo, leave it. Sometimes it's a lesson, and be grateful for the lesson. And sometimes the lesson really just is what not to do. Be grateful for that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through that again, because now you learned. If you don't learn, and this is the other thing I learned, the universe, it's like gives us lessons and all the time. It's like, here is a lesson. You didn't get it? Hang on, I'll bring it back. I added a little something. Here you go. Oh, you still didn't get it? I'll give you more. Hold on. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
And we get the same lesson over and over, and it's harder and harder and harder, because the universe gives us more and more and more and more and more until we hear it and get it. A lot of times, you know, it's rock bottom.
Right.
Because we've been ignoring it and ignoring it.
You see, this is that same analogy in a sense with the cup being full.
Right.
One more drop going over. Sometimes it has to overflow and get all over your lap before you react and say, whoa, what the heck is going on? And you wake up.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, the universe will keep presenting the lesson
like
in many
2x4.
different ways, from many different angles, with many different clubs.
2x4s.
And 2x4s.
I got hit hard last year with 2x4s.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I tell people, you know, when I'm doing a reading and something keeps coming up, and I mean card after card after card, and after I, you know, before I even let the cards come out, I've said this, and all of a sudden they pick, and all of a sudden the same message over and over and over, or the same numbers, you know, and using the numerological meanings of those.
Which is really fun, because when you do readings for me, we have that, but it's all good for me.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And, you know, and I sit there and I go, yep, that foam rubber hammer's bonking you on top of the head to say there's a theme here.
Right.
And, you know, and I'll readdress it and go back, and I said, remember what I first said when we started, after I was done holding your hands, the information I was getting. And here it is over and over and over and over again, exactly what I was picking up. But coming from different angles.
Right.
So the message can be heard.
And the thing is, it's like with kids, you know, it's like as a parent, you can tell your kid the same thing over and over and over and over. And then your neighbor or friend comes over, they say exactly the same thing, and now it's gospel.
Yes. Right. Well, you know, a lot of times at home, the kids don't want to listen, you know, to hear it from mom and dad.
It's called mommy and daddy deafness.
Yeah, right. You know, we want to find out for ourselves, so we learn it through the other people in our life.
Okay.
Us as parents, yeah, well, exactly, it has to be okay for us. But a lot of times our egos can get tweaked with that.
Right? Oh, we should do a show on ego.
Yeah, you know, the positive and the negative aspects of the ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Because without ego, we can't get things accomplished.
That's another show.
Yeah.
We've got to wrap this one up, though.
Yeah, all right.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yeah, it does, and you know.
But that's okay.
So, you notice why we say chasing squirrels, because we go all over the place with things. But that's the way it's going to be. That's why we added it to our thing.
Well, I love it. Because we raise vibrations while we're chasing squirrels.
Right.
And
hopefully
if
give
you're
some
lucky, we
insights
bring the squirrels back every so often.
And, you know, contact, when you see this on YouTube, you know, write your comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Write your comments.
Write your questions.
Questions, suggestions.
We'll address them. Yeah, we'll address them.
Yeah.
And
we can.
And pass this on, please. I do feel our conversations can make a difference, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So I ask you all to pass this on
and we
to
like
your
to hang
friends
out with each other.
Yeah,
and now
we have
a purpose.
Yeah. And we get a chance to play with dogs and squeak toys and levitate.
But we get to hang out with you and share energy with you, and it's just awesome. And I know I love you. I know he loves you too, because we come from a place of love.
Right.
So anyway, hope you got some value from this.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
So allow your perspectives to change.
There you go.
Right, by learning who you are.
Ooh.
You're worth it.
Yes, you are. All right.
All right.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Ciao.